Hello folks, this is Mike. Thanks for tuning in. Now, do you have a piece of furniture in your home that has these T-track center drawer runners? And if so, are they loose? Are they cracked? They're split? Do you have broken parts? Well, in this video, we're going to show you a simple way to make these wooden drawer slides. And we're also going to show you some easy fixes and a couple of time-saving hacks to take care of those other problems. So be sure to stick with me and we'll get started. Now, just a quick heads up. All the parts you see in this video for this T-track system are available locally at your hardware store or your building center. Now, if you have something special with exotic parts, well, don't get rid of your furniture just yet. Don't put it in the garage sale because most of those parts are going to be available online at specialty stores and some of your big places like Amazon and Walmart.com. At its heart, this system relies on a central T-track wooden slide. Centered at the back of the drawer is a guide piece that hugs the T-track, and that not only keeps the drawer centered, but also keeps the back from tipping up. The color denotes the size. The green here allows you to use a 1 1/8 inch wide runner with a 1/4 inch flange. Of course, there are a variety of colors and sizes available, some for wooden tracks, some for metal. Occasionally one of these back guides will fail, but this is really no big deal. You know, replacements are really cheap and they're plentiful, and all you have to do is just remove the broken one and screw a new one into place. There are small tabs here that butt up against the bottom of the drawer, and then you center it horizontally and just screw it into place. Very simple. The little supports in the front corners of the drawer are called glides, G-L-I-D-E-S, and they support the drawer bottom and prevent wood-on-wood contact. They're often just nailed into place, so if they come loose, you can move the little tab forward or backward a bit and re-nail, or just nail through a different part of the little flange. However, I really prefer these Delta drawer rollers if you can actually use them. They will raise the height in front of your drawer a little bit, so you've got to be careful. These are also normally nailed in, but the holes can actually be countersunk from number 4 screws. And that's what I did with mine. The little roller really reduces friction and allows the drawer to actually glide in and out of the cabinet effortlessly. If you would do a YouTube or internet search, you would find out that you should always use hardwood for your drawer runners. And that's true. There's many hardwoods that'll work. What I like to use is hard maple or birch, and these are very common woods used in older antique type furniture, and they have lasted the test of time. Now, I have deviated a few times, but you got to remember not all hardwoods are created equal. So let me show you what happened to me. Well, these drawers don't carry a lot of weight. I mean, these are just sock drawers. But look what happened to my cherry runners. Notice how it's split on the top? And this drawer droops when you pull it out. The bottom drawer is even worse. This runner just totally disintegrated. So I think we could surmise from this that maybe cherry doesn't make the best drawer runners. All of my other drawers are made of maple. Not a single one has failed. I want to cut my T-track to the exact same measurements as my old broken one, just out of better, sturdier material. If you have enough of your old runner, you can use it for measurements and just set your saw up. If that's not possible, you can measure the guide on the back of your drawer. Or if you've got multiple drawers, you could just measure one of your other runners. So I'm just going to use it like so, and I'm going to set my saw up first for the width, and when I have that, I'm going to rip it, and then I'm going to set it up for the thickness and rip that. Okay. Once I have it cut to the right overall side, I'm going to go ahead and find center and mark a line on both ends for alignment purposes when we install it. This is just easier to do now than before we machine it. Now, the first runner I cut, I'm just going to use pine just to make sure I get it right. So I first set my saw for the rabbited depth, and then I'm going to raise the blade until it barely kisses the flange. Now, you can set up dado blades for this, but I'm just going to make extra passes with my regular blade. So now I'm going to run my sample piece through the saw, I'll turn it, and I'll cut the other side. Now I'm going to adjust my fence a little bit for a wider cut, and then repeat. And repeat again, and keep repeating the process until it's all nibbled away. Now this took me about 4 sets of passes. So some of you seasoned woodworkers are asking at this point, why didn't he just stand that piece up against the fence and make a single cut across the bottom, turn it, and make another cut at the top? And that's a great way to do it. Of course, it would take more setup and measurement. Then we're going to sand it and clean it up a bit and test fit it with our plastic guide. And it's pretty close to perfect, almost like we planned it that way. You can easily cut these with a router table if you have one, and I really like this method best. So in addition to marking the center line of the runner, I'm also marking a line to indicate the bottom of the overhang, or the flange if you will. Again, you first cut your runner to the correct height and depth on the table saw, and then cut the slots to indicate the depth of the rabbet. I'm using a 1/2 inch straight bit, and I'm going to lift it to this point, which will be the wall of the rabbet. Now I'm going to adjust the fence for depth, but I'm going to make at least 2 passes. Now you can go ahead and try to cut the whole rabbet at one time, but I find that 2 or 3 shallower passes really cuts down on tear out and just looks cleaner. And the final cut will be to the flange line. And the test shows, well, we have a really good fit. Next, I laid out my runner for the mounting holes, and I did this by taking measurements from my old piece. But I took care not to center my new holes exactly in the same place as the old ones. I don't want to center my runner in the case and have my screws seek the old holes. That could pull it out of alignment. I want to screw into new wood. I also clamp it in place with a piece of sacrificial wood under it to prevent tear out when I drill. And be sure to use a countersink. The screw head should be flush or below the surface of your runner. Most often the front of the drawer is rounded, and of course this helps ease the transition when you try to dock your drawer in the cabinet. But this time, I just set a stop on my fence and I set my saw to cut at 45 degrees. Then I bobbed the front, mostly just cutting the flange part. I think this has a nice look and it's just as effective as rounding. Now there's 2 different methods on how to install your runners. In method 1, you just find dead center of your drawer cavity, front and rear. And this will be easier if you remove the back of your cabinet. Now remember that before we machine these runners, we put center marks on them. So all we have to do is match those marks up with the marks on the cabinet. And notice I've used some blue tape here, and that's because I couldn't see the marks on the start finish. So I marked a line with a permanent marker. Now clamp your runner in place and go ahead and run in your screws, and then we'll just go ahead and remove this blue tape and we'll be done. So method 2 is kind of a hack. If you have more than one drawer in your dresser or piece of furniture, they're usually centered. You can measure the distance from the side of one of your good runners to the wall of the cabinet, and I lock this in on my measuring stick apparatus here like so. Then I went to my shop, set a stop on my saw, and locked that in, and I square cut 2 of these pieces. Now we can test the sticks for accuracy by setting them in place on both sides of your runner, and if they snug up without any overlap or gaps, then your runner is perfectly centered. To install your new runner, butt these up against your cabinet wall, front and back, put your runner against them snugly, and then you can run in your screws. I didn't even have to remove the cabinet back with this little hack. But it was pretty cramped and difficult to work in the back of that drawer, and it's a little difficult to get the screw in. So if you've got a number of these drawers to do, you may want to rethink that. And the last step here is to simply retest the fit of your drawers, and we got a good fit here. Now whether you have metal center tracks or wooden ones, the problem may be that they're just loose, sometimes completely loose. This is usually because the screw holes have wallowed out over time. And this can be a particular problem for runners that are mounted in particle board and other types of wood composites like MDF. Now what I like to do is to drill out this hole. Now you'll notice I've made a poor man's drill stop. I put a piece of electrician's tape on the drill bit about a ½ inch up from the bottom. And when I'm drilling and I reach that tape, I simply stop, and that keeps me from drilling all the way through. You need to make sure that the hole you drill is a little bit bigger than your wallowed out hole. I'm going to use a 3/16 inch dowel pin here and drill bit. And I usually test fit on a piece of scrap. I want to make sure that the dowel pin fits snugly in the hole. Now we can dope our dowel pin with some glue and tap it in the hole. We're going to wait about an hour and let it dry, and then I'm going to cut it flush with the surface. Now you can recenter your runner and attach it. And you'll notice that I'm drilling a pilot hole first. This will make a permanent fix, and your repair will be hidden under the slide. I need to repair this hole, but even my angle drill is just too tall for the space. So here's a hack a few other folks are showing on YouTube. Take some toothpicks and dope them good with glue. Insert them into the hole and pack in as many as you can get. Now I'm going to use these electrician's pliers, and I'm going to nip off the excess. And then next I'm going to hammer them in, and it looks like they're all just broke, but I was able to tap several in a little further, and now they are really packed tight and deep. I'm going to clean off the excess glue, and then we'll let it sit for about an hour. Now the glue is dry, so I'm going to take one of these cheap snap-off knives. I'm going to extend the blade, let it flex a bit, and I'm going to trim off the toothpicks level with the surface. Now I'm going to take a little blue tape and mark my center line with a Marks-A-Lot, and now we can reattach the slide. It seems good and tight, so hopefully this will last. Now I love drawer work, and I've got more drawer videos planned. We're doing T-tracks today. In the near future I hope to do dovetail drawer runner systems and some other drawer videos, plus DIY woodworking and tool reviews. So it would really pay you to go below and subscribe to my channel, and be sure to like my video. Now if you keep watching to the end, I've listed some of my upcoming videos in the end credits, so you may want to check that out. Also remember folks that I enjoy reading your comments, your suggestions, and even your constructive criticism. So continue to fire those off to me, and I will get back to you. So folks, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, thanks for watching.